Natalie, baini, welcome to Six News.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, Leo.
So first of all, this video of Josh Frydenberg at what we understand is the campaign launch for Fiona Martin this election. Certainly what we're here to talk about first of all. Let's just play some of that clip now.
This election will require us to not only defeat the Labor Party and the Greens, but also these fake independents. I'm seeing them in my seat, you're seeing them in your seats. These are independents that are running as a political party, that are organised as a political party, that are funded as a political party, that are running on a Labor Party platform, that are running with the support of the Labor Party and the Greens, and in my case, they're former members of the Labor Party. And they won't even tell us before the election who they would vote for in the event of a hung parliament.
So you've seen it there. Your reaction?
I have. I'm absolutely shocked. It is a bald-faced lie to suggest that I am a fake independent or in any way funded by any other party. And my immediate reaction upon seeing that is it is a desperate act from the Treasurer on behalf of a desperate sitting member and desperate government. They know absolutely that I am not a fake independent, and I am even largely self-funded. So they would know that this is completely untrue. What's really shocking is that it was said to a room full of Liberal people at a campaign launch, and already one would observe very declining numbers of support in that room. It is exactly that type of conduct from the Treasurer that has caused a number of Liberal Party members and Liberal voters to feel disaffected and somewhat ashamed of this particular Liberal government.
So do you think it was deliberate messaging from the Treasurer there? He wasn't just misinformed?
Yes, no, it's a misinformation campaign, and it's a very convenient way to dismiss a strong independent in Reid. It's a line that the government has been running in relation to a number of independents who perhaps do have the same source of funding. There has never been any suggestions that I have similar source of funding. I am a genuine independent. I'm running with a very strong orange colour, which is quite different to a number of the other independents in the field. And there's no mistaking the fact that I'm a person who is genuinely of this local community seeking to represent it effectively in Parliament.
So if you're not one of those so-called Climate 200 independents, what kind of independent are you?
I'm a genuine local, and I'm somebody who produces results. I've been a member of this community for over 40 years, almost my entire life. My family's had a connection to this community since the 1940s. And I have been very heavily embedded in this community throughout my whole life. And I use the term local, but I'm very particular to note that the term local means much more than just an address. I'm somebody who has delivered on projects both domestically for this community and on international projects. So I have a really strong track record. I'm fortunate enough to have been so involved in my community that a number of people are familiar with my achievements, and they know that I'm genuinely driven by a sense of service to the community, not a desire for a political career as such.
Yeah, and I guess there's been some criticism of those aforementioned Climate 200 or Teal independents, that they have an unfair advantage in that they get, a big platform to promote. They have that backing. They have the massive social media presence, which is really pushed. Do you, as an independent who is not affiliated with Climate 200, believe they have an unfair advantage?
I think it's extraordinary for a major party to suggest that the financial backing of these independents gives them an unfair advantage when there's approximately $65 million of undisclosed sources of funds for the Liberal Party in this election. So it is obviously that's obtained by donations made under the disclosure threshold, but several of them are made, and that obviously adds up to significant funds. So I wouldn't say that they have an unfair advantage, even though I am clearly not operating with that type of budget myself. Fortunately, I find that being truthful with the electorate is not as expensive as it is for major parties that are peddling lies and misinformation. So my budget doesn't need to be as big as others, but I also believe that those independents don't have an unfair advantage. It's completely fair to have support.
Yeah. Now you quit the Liberal Party.
I did.
In terms of your actual policies, how are they any different to the actual Liberal ones?
Yeah, it's interesting that you say that. I've quit the Liberal Party partly. There are a number of reasons why I have, but one of them is a general abandonment of Liberal principles by this current Liberal Party. And I know that it's something that has disappointed a number of traditional Liberal supporters. So I feel that I still hold very true to the principles and values that I've always held. I believe in individual responsibility and better opportunities for the individual, better opportunities for small business. And we know that when small business thrives, so too do families. And there's been a real neglect of small businesses, particularly coming out of the pandemic, but the federal budget and indeed the budget reply are almost silent on small businesses, whereas traditionally the Liberal Party has really introduced those mechanisms and reforms that assist small business and therefore families to achieve their aspirations. I still maintain those, and I have no doubt that many Liberal voters in this area would know that there is an independent candidate who still maintains the same ideals as them in many respects. So that's just one of the reasons why I left the party, but it's certainly a point of difference. I also think that I'm very driven by outcomes. So I see projects through to completion. I've been involved in a number of significant ones here locally. I was an AFL club president and drove a very significant facility acquisition and development in the area as a club president, whether it's traffic crossings outside of schools, all things that have been done as a volunteer. And then internationally, I've played a pivotal role in assisting to rescue some orphans out of a concentration camp in Syria, as well as some orphans in an Australian registered charity in Afghanistan recently. And, these are people who were completely abandoned by the Australian government and all the members of parliament who were contacted. As a volunteer, I stepped up and produced outcomes. So I have a really strong sense of service. It's innate in my personality. It's certainly been the key part of my upbringing. And I'm just looking to expand that into a full-time role to be able to serve more people in the community and deliver effective outcomes for them that have been so seriously lacking over recent years.
A hung parliament's certainly a possibility at this election. Is there a major party you'd be more likely to support if you were elected and that is the case?
Yeah, it's a very challenging question, and I know that a number of strong independents have had it posed to them. I think the greatest complication in answering that question, Leo, is that at the moment it seems that the two major parties are in a race to the bottom. There is a real lack of innovation on each side. There's a lack of long-term thinking. We saw from our budgets that nobody's looking past the election. That's not an effective way to run a household, let alone the country. So it's very challenging at this stage to make a decision on a hung parliament. I think for most independents, and myself included, we need to see what unfolds over the next few weeks to get a sense of the competencies or lack thereof of each of the major parties.
And just finally, are you confident in your chances of getting elected?
Look, I'm not overconfident because I think that would be reckless to say that, but there is a path to victory, and it's very much about grassroots support, which has been positively bestowed upon this campaign. And so we are working extremely hard. I know that my heart's in the right place for this community. I think the electorate of Reid is enjoying a strong sense of that, and our chances and our prospects are improving every day. So it will be a tough campaign, but there is enough support and growing groundswell that may actually make this a possibility.
All right, we'll leave it there. Thanks very much for your time.
Thanks, Leo. Enjoy your holidays.